were raised basically in Virginia there, and my father worked in Washington there at the Washington Post newspaper, and we were raised in the Northern Virginia area, and eventually moved out to a town called Manassas, Virginia, or the little town Gainesville, Virginia, nearby, and spent most of my life there. My whole family plays. My grandfather was probably the first one that I remember playing the violin, or the old-time fiddle, as they call it, and my father also played the banjo and guitar. My uncles, I had three uncles, my father, and he had 4 sisters as well, a big family, and most of them played music, and us as kids, well, they was always getting together to play music and have a good time, and it's a very cultural thing in that area. A lot of families play that music, and it's a very, almost, I'm not going to say fiddle contest type music, but it's very bluegrass and origin and old time as well. And the kids naturally wanted to get involved, and that's basically what my brother and I did, and sort of a race to see who could get involved the quickest there. Basically, I started out with a violin because my grandfather, Hunter Vance Lester was his name, and he played a lot of old-time fiddle down in the Southwest Virginia area, and we didn't get to see him that much, only a few times a year, and when he did come up to see us or when we went down, it was always quite a treat to get out the instruments and play and try to play everything like he did. I started playing at basically real playing at about age 5, and before that it was plastic instruments and you know, trying to make noise on some real ones too. So. My brother Dale, he is my only brother. I have no sisters. Him and I fought over everything there, I guess. He started before me. He was playing bass and some guitar and got into drums. He liked the drums a lot, and I got into it after that as well, playing guitar and violin, and we just started playing with my father as a three-man outfit there, featuring the little boys that are playing the music, and it was we played all around the Northern Virginia area. You know, I was shown a lot of favoritism being age 7 in front of a crowd, you know, playing a violin. It was quite the sight, I guess, and but it was an early experience for me. I got into mandolin probably as therapy from rock and roll. And basically my brother and I were playing rock and roll at some very loud decibels there for quite some time. And I remember having really long hair and all that stuff. And we played quite a bit of rock and roll, as a matter of fact, and the louder the better it was at that time. This was pre-Van Halen days. Kiss was a big band, and as many amps as you could buy and turn on and turn up, as loud as you could go. My father had a real hard time with that, with us in the basement, causing the police to come up and down the highway. Was quite loud, yeah. But we had a good time with it, yeah. No, we were playing our own high school's dances, a couple of the rival high school's dances. We kept the name of our high school quiet at that point when we were in the rival one there. But we played around the area and did some shows and played with several musicians in the Northern Virginia area, and eventually got out of that. I guess maybe it was a little too loud for us, I don't know. One day my father had a show to play, a bluegrass show in Falls Church, Virginia, and I decided to go just for the fun of it because I had nothing to do, and eventually got the bluegrass bug biting me again there, and started taking interest in the mandolin again. I guess mainly because it was violin-like, pretty much, and it was sort of a cross between a violin and a guitar kind of thing, because I really didn't want to have anything under my chin at that point. I guess that was the thing, but got into mandolin at that point. I was playing some pretty straight bluegrass on the mandolin. I think even before I really got into it, I was experimenting with some other types of music with a mandolin. The instrument is really universal. It's a neat thing, and I didn't see why it should be kept in just a bluegrass context, so I was fiddling around with some Rolling Stone songs and some other stuff until I heard the playing of David Grisman from California there, who had actually taken the mandolin and put it in a jazz setting. And that sort of opened up the door for me and many mandolin players down there who heard this music the first time, and I've pursued that avenue ever since 1978 or so. started writing, as a matter of fact, I did my first album, mandolin album, in 1983, and at that point I'd done quite a bit of mandolin playing, but I'd only written a couple tunes. Not very long after that did I start actually getting a lot of ideas and creating tunes, and from that point on, that's really been what it's been all about for me. Not so much just playing the mandolin like it was before, but creating music and using the instrument as well as other instruments to bring the best out of that music. In Virginia, actually most of the music that I play, the musicians that are like-minded are all living either in California or out in the western areas. Felt very lonely out on the eastern part of the country there. Actually, the musicians or the bands that I worked with there playing the jazz type of music, most of the times I had to take bluegrass musicians and set them aside and show them as much jazz as I could know. I mean, because I don't know that much jazz myself, but just to get them to play the songs so that we could carry on the show and present the music down there. When we did play shows, we did have a nice crowd, but half of the crowd were players, and they were there to see what we had to offer, I guess. And I don't know, one person put it as musicians' music. And what I've done since is try to make steps to make it anyone's music and more accessible to the general people as well as the players. It seems like the exceptional instrumentalists certainly are experimenting with their skills. The jazz influence seems to really facilitate experimenting with their skills. I find the exceptional vocalists in that type of music are leaning towards country music with its success now and marketability. And what I find is either, you get country people or bluegrass people that are good singers leaning towards country, and the instrumentalists leaning towards jazz is what I find. I grew up on bluegrass pretty much, and I still love to play the old tunes and the stuff as well as this. So it's a neat variety if you can do both. Pale Rider was a collection of tunes that I had written. Actually, some of them were fragments of tunes. They really weren't finished, and I just felt that at this point I needed to produce something with some of the more prominent bluegrass artists that I had met in the last year and a half or 2 years. I couldn't have them all on the CD, but the ones I couldn't have, I pretty much had them write liner notes for my CD. So they're all on there in one place or another, but I felt that I could benefit with music through working with these people, with their prominence, and actually hadn't had a compact disc out up to this point, and you know, with the profile with artists and stuff, it's really good if you can have a compact disc out. And so we pursued it at that point, and I used a fellow by the name of Tony Trishka, who's a banjo legend down there from New Jersey, and his presence on there helps me out a lot as far as the marketability of the CD. I had my bass player here, Kene Hyatt, on there, and also two very fine Canadian musicians, Slavic Hanslick and Ray Legier from New Brunswick. And we did the CD over in Warkworth, not far from the prison, as a matter of fact. So it was I never played that close to a prison, but anyway, the studio's there, Studio 29. It's run by a fellow named Andy Thompson, who also played on there. I worked with him recently in a band called Earth and Sky, and we'd done some recording in the studio. So I did approach him, being impressed with the studio, about doing my project, and I'm certainly happy I did, and the results are obvious. When you mix bluegrass with some alternative type acoustic music, you always run the risk of being slammed by the critics, the hardcore bluegrass critics who write for the bluegrass magazines and also share some radio time down there. Actually, I don't know what actually happened good here, but they all loved it, and this time I'll take that. And as long as they keep liking it, that's great. I'll keep putting it out, and you know, hopefully we can do another one at some point soon. Actually, it is quite an interesting thing right now, especially with our new band here, the Emory Lester Set. We're all sort of looking and finding new venues and going in and introducing our music to them. And we've had a lot of success doing that, and we don't seem to have such a hard a time to getting back into these venues once we're in once and they have heard it. The CD also helps as well because, you know, they can hear that first, and then we follow that up by playing for them, and usually creates a favorable thing for us, and we'll just continue to do that right now. We don't really want to restrict ourselves to Ontario here. We're talking about actually taking this down to down in the States as well as some other areas up here. So I think we'll be experimenting with that soon and making that possible. I tell you, right now there's several things in the offing for me. Right now, my main interest right now with music is just to continue writing tunes and playing. And just to keep experimenting. As far as playing with groups, my band here, the Emory Lester Set, will probably be still doing stuff in Ontario and pursuing this cause a little more wherever we can push it. There'll be some other side projects for me soon. There's talk about maybe doing some stuff with Tony Rice and Jimmy Goodrow and some of these fellows, Wyatt Rice, and you know, we'll see what materializes with that stuff right now, but right now my interest is with the Emory Lester Set, and we'll continue with that and develop that further.
got